Kevina believes Ireland is a myth. So this Kevina is a peculiar breed. She appears to have been involved in a freak accident that removed all common sense, basic understanding from her mind. The title is one of many famous ideas she maintained to this day. What makes her stand out from the crowd is her ability to maintain her opinion even in the face of irrefutable evidence. Here are some of her best. Ireland is a myth. Kevina believes Ireland is made up and a conspiracy theory because potatoes come from the store, not disgusting mud. She is British and we both live in Britain, however I am Irish. I showed her my Irish passport and photos of me in Ireland, yet she still thinks it's photoshopped. 2. 3 months ago I caught Kevina crying. I asked her what's wrong and she said she didn't have long to live. I obviously asked her to elaborate and she said she was giving herself a tattoo with a highlighter and a needle and was told she would get ink poisoning. She ended up going home and wrote a will on her Instagram story. She lived. 3. Kevina had a huge crush on a guy we both knew. She decided to ask him out because, hey, Kevinas deserve love too. She decided to message him on Instagram, so if it backfired, she could say her friend sent the message. Her words, not mine. She accidentally found the wrong account of a guy with the same name, a married guy. Kevina refuses to accept it was the wrong person and messaged them every day until she was blocked. 4. Kevina is terrified that if there is a nuclear war, the wind might blow the missile the wrong way and hit us, and that the Trident submarines might sail under a country. Yes, she believes that you can go under a country as there isn't anything underneath the land. 5. She refuses to believe that London is in the southeast of England because when she went there, the sat-nav pointed forwards. 6. She believes Northern Ireland shares a border with England and when shown proof proclaimed the maps are all drawn wrong. 7. She doesn't understand how sex offenders get caught as they could just lie about their age in court and get away with it. She doesn't know what a birth certificate is and says she never got one. 8. She greeted a French exchange student with bad German and shouted "Speak English or find a new job in France" at a French ice cream man. 9. Kevina is a vegetarian, or so she says, but allowed herself to eat pork, chicken and beef as they don't count. She laughed at me when I said gelatin is from cows and is in Haribo's and said that Haribo's comes from factories, dummy. She also doesn't realize cows live after being milked and assumed they cut the cow open and there was just a bit of it called milk. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now about my Kevina. Kevina tried to pet an African lion in the wild. This happened in South Africa. I am from the United States but traveled for an internship to South Africa. One of my fellow interns was a Kevina. Thought she was only 17, so maybe there's hope she will grow up. We worked on a boat in the Mossel Bay, which is home to hundreds of great white sharks. At first I thought she was just a lazy teen who didn't think that she would be made to work on an internship. She refused to do the more disgusting tasks, such as chum the water and secure a tuna head, and usually took the role of a photographer. Every time she opened her mouth I rolled my eyes. She couldn't think fast, which was pretty important when there are sharks around and you're trying to attack a GoPro to their dorsal fin, but the real moment I knew she was a Kevina was the weekend. We got to go on a safari, one of the single most amazing few things of my life. We saw every African animal one might imagine on such an adventure, including the African steer, yes, a cow. They came right up to our truck and poked their head against those sitting on the sides. Our guide informed us we could touch them if we wanted to. The petting of the cows lasted far longer than I would have liked. Don't get me wrong, I love animals, but I have cows at home. I don't have elephants, lions, zebras, etc. at home. Important Kevina was sitting behind me in the very back row of a 3-row extended truck, sitting high up like a stadium seat where each row is higher than the one before it so everyone can see. I was in the first row closest to the ground in front of her with one person between us. We went off to see other animals and do other things, even passing the cows again, where she whined that she wanted to stop and touch them. She began trying to touch every animal we saw after, which was fine and stupid. Yeah, sure, you reach for the water bucket, it's only 100 meters away, you might graze its fur. Then we came upon the lions. Lions are very lazy, so it was relatively the same idea of, yeah honey, keep dreaming. Our guy did warn us though. As long as we are in the vehicle, we are not prey, but anything outside of the vehicle would be considered food. He yelled at her a few times to keep her arm in, but she just did it when he wasn't watching. She kept chanting, "Here, kitty," and going on about how soft they would be. The lioness lazily got up and some poor deer-like animal caught her eye and she started to stalk it. I was so excited thinking I would get to witness a lion hunting. The guy drove off a couple 100 feet and placed us between the lioness and her prey. Okay, less excited now as this lioness stalking her prey is coming right for me since I was on the edge. Guide tells us she is using us as a cover and will come right alongside the truck. She does, and it's amazing, coming up by me then going around the front of the cab. Then I see the two male lions get up to slowly follow. Again, I was nervous but more excited this time. They do the same using the truck as cover, but they go around the back. I follow them with my camera and see Kevina reaching out towards the hunting lion trying to pet it. I snap a picture as I quietly tell her to get her arm back in. The harshness of my voice and others' sudden protests make her pull her arm in and sulk. Back at camp, she got mad at me, saying she wasn't reaching and I made her look like an idiot, which is when I passed around the picture of her reaching for the line and she shut up. I could go on, but this is already longer than I wanted, so I'll just say I was very glad when Kevina went home. I own a bowling alley. My former employee was the ultimate Kevin. I own a mid-sized bowling alley with about 10 employees. Kevin was 19 when this happened, under a year ago, maybe 8 months. I hired him after losing 2 employees in a week, so I was desperate for somebody. He did so much damage, it was worse than no employee. Here's some of Kevin's greatest hits. He was caught up humping a bowling ball in the break room. Kevin intentionally forgot to put oil on the lanes because he read somewhere that it would make the ball blow up, and he thought that would be cool. Kevin eventually got removed for anything except for serving food and drinks. I figured this would be okay. Oops, that was a mistake. Pretty soon on the first day, I put him on duty serving food for a full shift. A woman comes up to the counter and asks to see a manager. Confused, I ask her what happened. She tells me her pizza is too dry to eat. You know where this is headed. I go to check on Kevin, but he blocks the entrance to the back room with his body and yells to the woman at the counter, "We used a new tomato sauce." I immediately panic. This is clearly a lie. We don't make our own pizzas, they're food service. I push past him and discover the son of a bitch is serving the customers week-old pizza that has been sitting in a cold, dry room. Kevin tells me, "I didn't want to waste food and I thought you would be mad at me." We had a Christmas party one time and Kevin literally tried to go down the chimney of the business. But the mofo couldn't get down further than his waist. The fireman came to get him out. We found him playing one-person soccer with our plastic food containers, kicking them and running after them and trying to kick them into goals, like the pin setter on the bowling lanes. I was using the toilet once when Kevin walks into the bathroom and stands outside my stall calling 911 to report I was dead. I tell loudly, "Hey, I'm alive here." Kevin tells me, "You were moving, I thought you were dead, sorry." Cops still had to check it out and search the whole place. He bought a taser and used it on himself while on the job. Kevin told me he bowled a 300 with no proof, of course. He got super defensive when challenged, up to the point of sending me a photoshopped picture of a 300 claiming it was his. Then he told me it was just an example and his "look like that, it was only an example, I swear," and starts crying. My business partner, Colin Robb, who I worked with for 20 plus years, was left in charge alone with Kevin one night when I went home and the others weren't in. When I'm home, I get a text from Rob. It says, "I hate N-word, Jew slur, and lube suckers." Turns out Kevin took his phone. Then I fired Kevin. That was too much. Still, the worst employee I ever had. So those were the stories for today's video. If you enjoyed this and want to watch more videos, then click here for more stories or go check out the info cards in the right corner for more videos.